Start. Sir, I was referring to the clause which relates to the translation of works. As I said, the main purpose which motivated the joint committee to make this provision was that opportunities should be given to people to take advantage of the works written in various languages. It is only through translations that culture can be disseminated in this country. Ours is not a unilingual country, it is a multilingual country. And if we put restrictions in the way of translating works, we put restrictions in the way of the advancement of knowledge itself. It is therefore necessary to make the process of translating works from one language to another an easy one. It was with that purpose that this provision was made. I must say that I do see the force of the arguments which have been advanced against this provision. It does create some hardship for the authors because they are deprived to some extent of their rights after a period of 10 years. I am, however, willing to accept the amendment which has been proposed by my friend Mr. Sinha with slight alterations. There is some advantage in it. The amendment which has been moved by my friend is on the lines of the Universal Copyright Convention to which India is a signatory. Some members have suggested that the right of translation should be coextensive with the copyright for original work, that is, for a period of 50 years. If we accept that suggestion, it would mean that it would not be possible for us to translate the works of foreign authors for a period of 50 years because they will enjoy the same privileges as our own authors enjoy in this country. Now, we know that Indian languages and Indian literature have to go a long way to enrich themselves. We have to produce not only original works in our own languages, but we have to translate many works from foreign languages. If we make this right of translation coextensive with copyright, it may mean that we shall not be able to translate the works of foreign authors, and I am quite sure that the House would not like to put that barrier in the path of intellectual advancement. Therefore, the best alternative under the circumstances is to accept the amendment which has been very ably and very thoughtfully moved by my honorable friend. I have every sympathy with the authors who in this country live under very difficult circumstances, but we have also to consider the interests of posterity, the future generations. We must consider the interests of our society in general. If we think of the authors only and make this right coextensive with the term of the copyright, what would be the result? Probably the authors may gain but it will be detrimental to the general interests of the society. I am therefore satisfied with the amendment which has been moved by my friend. It meets the interests of the authors. It also meets the interests of the general public. We have to reconcile the conflicting interests. Now, Professor Rao raised an interesting point with regard to the reassignment of the copyright of a publication. It is quite true that in this country, authors, under very difficult circumstances, sometimes part with their works for practically nothing. They are being exploited by the publishers. There is no denying that fact, and it was with this in view that in the original bill the government put forward a proposal that after a period of 7 years the author could get back the copyright. This question was very thoroughly examined in the joint committee, and there were representatives in it of the various interests, including the authors themselves. The committee felt that if this provision for the reassignment of the copyright to the author was accepted, it would work against the interests of the authors themselves. The argument was that the publisher in the earlier stages makes an investment. He spends some money on advertisement. When a book is published, in order to capture the market, the publisher has to spend some money for 2 or 3 years, and just when it becomes popular and brings him a good return, the author will come to him and say, "Look here, will you please return this book to me?" If the publisher is so uncertain about the future of the book, if the publisher is always uncertain about his publication, and if he knows that after a period of 7 years he is not going to get any return on the investment he has made, do you think that any publisher would ever take any interest in pushing that book in the market? After all, business is business, and publishing is a business, and we should not ignore this hard reality. As I said, I have my full sympathies with the authors, but at the same time, we must remember that without the help of the publishers, the interests of authors will not be promoted.